Welcome back to another episode. Gianluca and Dylan talk football. How are you, Dylan?
I'm very good, thank you very much. How are you?
I'm all good. Awaiting these couple of Euro 2020 semi-finals, which promise to be very interesting matchups. No, Italy, Spain, and England, Denmark. Today we'll be speaking in depth about those two games. We are going to have also a special guest with us. In fact, we will start with him. With him, we will speak about Italy in particular, because he is from Italy, and also about Donnarumma, who is for sure one of the best goalkeepers in this Euro 2020 so far. He is Alessandro Guarnone, and we are going to put him live now. There you go. Ciao Alessandro.
Ciao.
Tutto bene?
Tutto bene?
Bene, non me lamento, dai. So Dylan, this is our Italian corner. We'll speak Italian here.
That's fine.
But obviously, if you have any questions, then I will translate for you as well. Però non so se Alessandro capisce inglese, non so.
Io capisco tutto, dai. Capire non ho difficoltà, magari un po' parlare. Dai.
No, quindi, so if you have any questions for him, Dylan, ask in English and he replies in Italian. Do a quick translation. Però ho voluto invitare qua Alessandro perché prima di tutto è un portiere italiano che gioca a Malta, nel mio campionato, diciamo. Sarà il secondo anno alla Valletta. L'anno scorso era a Birkirkara, ha fatto una buona stagione, ha riportato Birkirkara in Europa, quindi direi che è stato un bel battesimo di fuoco nel nostro campionato. Però l'ho voluto anche invitare perché il nostro caro Alessandro era nei giovanili del Milan e ha giocato cioè si è allenato con un certo Donnarumma, no? Quindi direi che in questo europeo è stato
Sicuramente
uno dei protagonisti, no?
Sicuramente uno dei protagonisti, ma penso che ormai a detta di tutti sia uno dei più forti del mondo, se non il più forte in assoluto. Lo dimostra davvero la tranquillità e la sicurezza con la quale gioca e con la quale si esprime nonostante la sua giovane età, ed è evidente come faccia davvero la differenza in ogni competizione giocata. Questa qua è una foto di un'ultima partita di campionato di qualche anno fa a San Siro, bei ricordi. È stato bello allenarsi con lui e ho dei bellissimi ricordi con lui e con altri grandi campioni dai quali ho imparato il più possibile.
Allora, io ti chiedo su Donnarumma, nel senso, se lo vedi, se in questo europeo te lo stai vedendo lo stesso come magari in campionato, io a dire il vero, qua nell'europeo lo sto vedendo addirittura più leader, magari più al centro del gioco, non lo so, mi sta dando quella impressione, non lo so.
No, guarda, secondo me al di là della situazione che per qualsiasi calciatore non sarebbe stato facile affrontare a livello di mercato, di distrazioni che poteva avere, lui si sta dimostrando un grandissimo, perché con la pressione che aveva, soprattutto dai tifosi italiani, dai tifosi milanisti, no, che dovuto al mercato, lui con tranquillità ha fatto delle grandissime prestazioni. E se devo compararlo anche ad altri portieri che ho visto nell'europeo, penso che sia il migliore per distacco. Mi viene da nominare Pickford, che ha fatto sicuramente un ottimo europeo, che sta facendo bene, che è probabilmente l'unico ancora che non ha preso gol. Però se andiamo a vedere anche proprio la tranquillità con la quale comanda la difesa e con la quale gioca, penso che Donnarumma sia una spanna sopra tutti.
Cioè, quando ti allenavi con lui, nel senso, vedi le stesse cose che vedi ora, ovviamente magari più migliorate, no? Però già vedevi quelle cose dai tuoi tempi, diciamo, anche se erano, mi sa, 3-4 anni fa, no?
E diciamo che quello che si nota sicuramente standogli vicino è la grande facilità con la quale fa cose difficili, fa sembrare qualsiasi parata facile, e questo lo fanno solo i grandi campioni, no? E poi sicuramente la personalità con la quale affronta le gare, affronta comunque sia competizioni stressanti, difficili, come può essere un europeo o il campionato di Serie A italiano.
Magari uno, guardando un po' Donnarumma nel dettaglio, analizzava, magari pensava che oltre ai suoi pregi c'erano alcuni difetti, magari non giocava la palla coi piedi o magari neanche nelle uscite, però in questo europeo si sta anche esaltando in quelle situazioni di gioco, no? Magari potrebbe essere anche l'aiuto di Mancini, del suo staff tecnico, no? Che magari lo hanno aiutato di più a coinvolgerlo anche di più nel gioco, nella costruzione, no?
Ma sicuramente io penso che comunque anche il lavoro che è stato svolto nel club, perché da quando poi ha avuto Gattuso ha sempre avuto allenatori che richiedevano il gioco da dietro, la costruzione dal basso, no? E perciò è migliorato molto, l'allenamento si vede, e comunque sia magari non è uno dei migliori col gioco coi piedi, ma è migliorato molto, e adesso diciamo che dà una mano anche sotto quel punto di vista.
Per quanto riguarda poi l'Italia in generale, ovviamente c'è tanto di positivo, no, da dire su questa squadra, no? Però magari ti ha sorpreso nel modo nel quale sta giocando in questo europeo, perché uno sapeva che la nazionale era forte, aveva dei giocatori che poteva giocare a pallone, però magari questo gioco non si vedeva neanche nelle qualificazioni, no?
Diciamo che quello che mi sta sorprendendo di più è sicuramente il gioco, perché non è un'Italia classica, perché dall'Italia ti aspetti sempre un altro tipo di gioco, sicuramente molto più difensivo, mentre comunque sia questa qua è un'Italia giovane, volenterosa, con un grandissimo gruppo, che secondo me è quello che fa la differenza poi in queste competizioni, soprattutto negli europei, nelle competizioni delle nazionali. E quello che mi ha sorpreso è appunto il grande gioco e la quantità di gioco che propongono, a differenza magari degli anni passati, dove si puntava più sul fisico e sulle ripartenze e sulla fase difensiva. Mentre questa Italia qua davvero sta mostrando un'evoluzione, un calcio più moderno, e devo dire che sinceramente non me l'aspettavo un'Italia così sorprendente, soprattutto perché dopo una delusione, pensavo, una delusione così cocente come quella dei mondiali, pensavo che ci sarebbe voluto più tempo, mentre invece Mancini ha sorpreso tutti, ha ricostruito una nazionale da capo ai piedi in maniera eccellente.
Poi dalla gara contro la Spagna penso che la battaglia sarà più al centrocampo, no? Perché sono due centrocampisti, entrambe le squadre hanno dei centrocampisti che possono dettare il gioco, il tempo e tutto, no? Quindi magari quali centrocampo vedi più forte, più talentuoso, non lo so.
Ma sicuramente diciamo che conosciamo da sempre il modo di giocare spagnolo, perciò ci dobbiamo aspettare, sarà sicuramente una partita giocata molto a centrocampo. Io penso che però la differenza la faccia la difesa, perché penso che sicuramente a livello difensivo l'Italia abbia qualcosa in più. E Bonucci e Chiellini penso che davvero siano stati i migliori difensori dell'Europeo, e poi abbiamo avuto sfortunatamente l'infortunio di Spinazzola, che però si è dimostrato per distacco il miglior terzino esterno dell'Europeo, e poi a destra comunque sia con Florenzi o Di Lorenzo, chi per esso, diciamo che abbiamo davvero un'ottima difesa. Mentre penso che la Spagna sotto il punto difensivo abbia qualche lacuna, e si può colpire.
Io nel frattempo faccio girare qualche tua azione, no? Qua abbiamo un grande video, Alessandro Guarnone Show, questo il titolo è top, però l'ho messo perché nel frattempo voglio anche raccontare che tu hai giocato ovviamente nel Milan Primavera, Milan Under 17 e hai affrontato anche due giocatori che sono nella nazionale, Raspadori e Bastoni, Sassuolo e Atalanta. Però nel frattempo tu ti sei anche allenato, oltre a Donnarumma, anche a Locatelli, no?
Certo.
Ovviamente ormai Locatelli lo conoscono tutti, ha fatto una buona stagione nel Sassuolo. Direi che è stata anche una bella rivelazione per la nazionale, perché ha rimpiazzato Verratti nelle prime gare in modo stratosferico. Però per quanto riguarda la crescita di un talento come Locatelli, no? Prima di tutto, se l'hai mai magari pensato che potesse diventare un giocatore così importante, però, e poi anche magari in quale cosa l'hai visto migliorato, specialmente dopo questa stagione con De Zerbi, no?
Ma penso che alla fine quello che gli mancasse al Milan fosse solo ed esclusivamente la fiducia da parte del mister e del club, della società in generale, di farlo giocare, di avere delle possibilità anche per sbagliare, perché comunque sia è classe 98, perciò è giovanissimo, e probabilmente ha avuto la sfortuna di trovarsi in un Milan, soprattutto a livello societario, un po' complicato, che non è stato in grado di aspettarlo e di far venire fuori le sue qualità, perché erano evidenti sin da quando aveva davvero 15-16 anni, perciò sicuramente me lo aspettavo, sicuramente è un giocatore che farà una grande carriera, che ha delle doti, delle qualità fuori dal normale. Lui, come Raspadori, come Bastoni, come questi giocatori che comunque sia Mancini ha fatto bene a promuovere e a dar fiducia, perché sono la generazione futura e sono il calcio italiano del futuro, e perciò è giusto che come fanno in altri paesi europei, anche in Italia si inizino a dar spazio anche ai giovani.
Infatti una delle questioni sul centrocampo italiano era che adesso con il rientro di Verratti, no, Locatelli stava in panchina e magari si perdeva un po' di fisicità, no? Tu la pensavi in questo modo, no?
Sì, però penso che comunque sia Locatelli sia un giocatore abbastanza completo, nel senso che magari a livello tecnico non ha la qualità ancora e l'esperienza di Verratti, però a livello fisico è uno che nel tackle comunque sia è presente, nel recupero palla è bravo, perciò l'ha dimostrato, l'ha fatto vedere, no? che poteva starci benissimo. Sicuramente Verratti ti dà qualcosa di più a livello di esperienza, però in delle competizioni del genere, dove giochi spesso in poco tempo, a livello fisico devi star bene, devi avere qualcosa in più, perché sennò fai fatica.
Sì, esatto. Tu hai menzionato anche Pickford, no, prima, infatti ti volevo chiedere magari quali portieri ti hanno piaciuto di più e perché poi, no? Perché ogni portiere ha un suo stile, no? Diverso.
Beh, penso che sicuramente quello che abbia fatto più notizia sia stato Sommer, no? che ha davvero tenuto in piedi per almeno 2 partite la Svizzera in maniera incredibile, in una sicurezza, con tante parate anche facili, però sicure, fatte bene, dando sicurezza alla difesa, e poi coi rigori. Poi quello che mi è piaciuto di più sicuramente è stato Donnarumma. Di altri che vorrei menzionare, penso che i migliori 3 siano stati in assoluto Donnarumma, Pickford e Sommer. Sicuramente c'era la Spagna, che ha dato spazio a Unai Simon, che si è riscattato dopo quel brutto infortunio, no, del passaggio, che si è riscattato molto bene, però sicuramente i 3 del podio te li ho già detti.
C'è anche la possibilità di vedere, no, Rui Patricio l'anno prossimo in Serie A, non so, come lo vede come giocatore. Ovviamente aveva avuto qualche critica dopo il gol contro il Belgio, che per me potrebbe anche essere trascurabile, perché era un tiro molto forte che poi non era facile, no? Per me. Però non so come lo vedi tu, come lo vedresti magari poi in Serie A, no? Un giocatore che alla fine ha fatto anche 9 in Premier League e tutto, no? Ormai non conosciuto, diciamo.
Diciamo che ormai abbiamo capito che con la modernità e con i palloni che ci sono, il mestiere del portiere è diventato ancora più difficile, perché un tiro del genere qualche anno fa non l'avresti mai visto, perché la palla va fortissima e prende un effetto all'ultimo che ti spiazza, perché scende all'ultimo e stava andando a destra la palla e poi si è spostata verso sinistra e si è trovato in contropiede. Perciò io non sarei troppo a dare troppe colpe a Rui Patricio. A me quello che dispiace sicuramente è che la Roma è davvero ormai 10 stagioni che non ha un portiere italiano e che non si affida mai a portieri italiani, ma che continua ad andare a cercarli all'estero, no? Abbiamo visto che comunque sia ha scoperto Allison, no? E l'ha fatto scoprire al mondo europeo, cioè al calcio europeo, però poi il resto dei portieri soprattutto stranieri che ci sono stati a Roma negli ultimi anni, poi non hanno mai convinto troppo. E io mi aspettavo dalla Roma, dalla società, magari un Cragno, un Gollini che è in uscita dall'Atalanta, una scelta del genere, mentre comunque è arrivato Mourinho, cercano un portiere portoghese e ci sta, come idea ci sta, certo, però ecco, stavo
Poi
pensando un po'.
ovviamente c'è il lavoro degli agenti e tutto, perché non è soltanto progettazione, ci sono altre cose extra calcistici, diciamo, no? Quindi daresti più colpe a Unai Simon per l'autorete di Pedri e per il portiere della Slovacchia, che ha combinato un guaio che, a dire il vero, non ho capito. Magari c'era il sole, perché quello è l'unico alibi che ho potuto trovare, perché era un po' pallavolistico quel...
Mi dispiace perché stava facendo una partita incredibile. Fino a quel momento lì aveva fatto davvero una partita incredibile. Però penso che sì, sicuramente quell'errore sia più grave perché era una palla che letta nella maniera giusta poteva o prendere o rimettere in calcio d'angolo, mentre l'infortunio di Unai Simone è un retropassaggio comunque sia complicato nello specchio della porta, perciò le colpe sono anche relative.
Hai visto come portiere, no? Hai visto, ovviamente questo non è il primo europeo che segue, no? Però non so, magari hai visto miglioramento nei portieri oppure un stile diverso di coinvolgere i portieri nel gioco, perché ogni squadra ha un tipo diverso di gioco, no? Però come hai visto in generale i portieri, nel senso, ormai ovviamente sono diventati anche come giocatori aggiunti, no? Nel gioco, però anche nell'essere atleta, nel loro allenamento, nel loro modo fisico, magari c'è anche cambiamento nel portiere, no?
Sicuramente penso che a livello fisico il portiere sia cambiato negli ultimi anni. Se guardo le nazionali, principalmente si sono alzati tutti i portieri. L'unico penso che davvero l'unico sul 1,85 m sia Sommer di tutto l'europeo. Il resto dei portieri sono tutti molto alti, quasi tutti sopra il 1,90 m. E quello che diciamo che non è che mi ha colpito, sicuramente a livello di gioco abbiamo visto come i paesi del sud dell'Europa, come magari può essere Italia, Spagna, Portogallo, cerchino un po' più di gioco, anche coinvolgendo il portiere, mentre magari Danimarca, Svezia e paesi più del nord dell'Europa abbiamo visto che cerchino un po' più di fisicità, no? Anche la Polonia, se penso a qualche partita di Szczesny. Diciamo che i miglioramenti sono soprattutto sotto quel punto di vista, perciò nelle uscite, nell'essere portiere moderno, magari anche perdendo qualcosina in porta, però guadagnando sotto quel punto di vista.
Infatti hai menzionato un portiere che a me piace molto, per me è uno dei portieri più forti in Europa, l'ho anche detto il mio collega qualche giorno fa, che è Schmeichel, che per me, a dire il vero, mi sa che è sottovalutato, non so, magari perché gioca all'Ester, però questo alla fine ha vinto un campionato anche per merito suo e nonostante magari la prima gara con la Finlandia dove era un po' falsa quella gara, no, però al di là di tutto è un giocatore molto fisico, tanta esperienza, porta tanta leadership, però anche forte nella sua tecnica.
Sicuramente. È uno di quelli che mi piace di più, magari non per prestazioni, per performance, non uno dei migliori di questo europeo, però è uno che sicuramente mi piace di più, mi piace il suo modo, in certe cose rivedo suo padre, sinceramente, e questo mi piace molto come tipo di portiere, come atteggiamento e aggressività. E niente, penso che sicuramente sia uno dei migliori in Premier League e che il Leicester lotti sempre per andare in Champions o per andare in Europa anche grazie a lui.
Non so se hai visto questa notizia, non è una grande notizia, però è più una curiosità, no? Perché ho visto questa notizia oggi, no? E volevo chiederti, perché questa cosa è un po' come, no, le scarpe di calcio per i giocatori, no? Allora, perché hai questa cosa qua e questa novità qua che magari ti potrebbe aiutare. Questa alla fine è una cosa diversa, perché qua ci sono 280 spikes
Sì.
che praticamente lo aiutano quando deve portare la palla fuori, no? Durante il cross o qualcosa.
Col colpo, sì, quando deve fare le uscite di pugno.
Esatto, con le uscite di pugno, no?
Sì,
Volevo chiederti se fa tanta differenza, no? Una cosa così, quanto potrebbe aiutare un portiere.
Beh, abbiamo visto come negli anni, al di là delle scarpe, no, anche i guanti si siano modificati. Diciamo che questo guanto è molto leggero, nel senso che lascia il palmo con lattice, e perciò che comunque è morbido e che è lattice un po' spesso. E il dorso, perciò questa parte qua della mano, per non appesantirla e mettere troppa plastica, l'Adidas ha deciso di fare questi pezzettini piccoli, no, di plastica staccati, così che quando colpisci la palla rimbalza e non si muove mentre colpisce il guanto, capito? Perciò rimbalza subito. E devo dire che davvero siamo arrivati anche coi guanti a dei livelli di modernità, cioè di tecnologia incredibile. E sicuramente questi guanti fanno la differenza, perché abbiamo parlato dei palloni, abbiamo parlato degli scarpini, eccetera. Diciamo che anche i portieri hanno un piccolo vantaggio, che sicuramente con questi guanti qua è più facile rispetto mi ricordo quando ero piccolo io, che ancora non c'era una grande tecnologia.
E ci sta, no? Perché in ogni europeo mondiale c'è sempre la controversia su qualche pallone che magari è troppo forte per i portieri e tutto, quindi per una volta diamo un po' di vantaggio per i portieri. Quindi ti vediamo con questi guanti con la Valletta la prossima stagione.
No, non Adidas, io uso un altro paio di guanti, diciamo che l'idea è quella, anche perché poi ci si copia un po', ogni marca prende il meglio.
No, certo. Allora io prima che ti lascio, perché ovviamente apprezzo molto il tuo intervento, Ale, spero che avremo più chance in futuro di parlare, anche perché a me piace parlare di calcio con te. Ovviamente volevo chiedere qualcosa sul tuo approdo alla Valletta, nel senso come adesso ti sei trovato nel nuovo club e tutto, anche perché la Valletta sta ancora portando un nuovo giocatore, quindi la squadra ovviamente non è al completo, no?
Certo, la squadra non è ancora al completo e diciamo che quest'anno sarà un po' una rivoluzione, nel senso che arriveranno molti giocatori nuovi e penso che l'età media si abbasserà molto. Il mio approdo è stato ottimo, nel senso che ho visto una società molto organizzata, ci alleniamo in uno dei centri sportivi migliori di Malta. Il mister, per la modalità nella quale vuole giocare, diciamo che esalta le mie caratteristiche, e i compagni mi hanno accolto bene, perciò sono contento e spero di fare una grande stagione e di raggiungere i nostri obiettivi e di riportare Valletta dove merita.
E di non finire il campionato a marzo, no? Quello perché ormai
quello purtroppo non
faremo il
dipende
triplet. E niente, poi una cosa anche in generale sul campionato maltese, perché magari uno che viene a giocare qua magari non sa esattamente cosa trova, no? Però alla fine è un campionato un po' particolare, perché è un campionato che magari non c'è tanta discrepanza a livello tecnico-tattico fra le squadre, no? Alla fine, ed è molto fisico. Poi i campi fanno differenza magari, quindi non è sempre facile, no?
No, certo. Penso che negli anni, tu lo sai meglio di me, il livello di questo campionato si sia alzato molto, e anche con le regole che stanno mettendo, anche col fatto che saremo meno squadre, il livello si alzerà ancora di più, ogni partita sarà più importante, non ci saranno partite facili dove sai già che prendi 3 punti, e anche con le regole che stanno mettendo, perciò con un maggior numero di stranieri alza la competitività, e col fatto che puoi portare più stranieri in panchina, penso che comunque sia, anche a livello di strutture si stanno facendo dei progetti importanti, e questo o per esempio quello che ho visto di Satariano, che è andato al Frosinone, o di altri giocatori che probabilmente andranno in Italia a giocare, penso che porti solo del bene al calcio maltese.
Infatti, no, speriamo bene per il nostro movimento. Prima di lasciarti, Ale, noi da oggi iniziamo, perché tu nel frattempo eri il nostro primo ospite, no? Quindi un privilegio per te, no? Però, a parte gli scherzi, iniziamo a chiedere un po' ai nostri ospiti quale sarebbe la loro, diciamo, squadra di fantacalcio a 5, però, calcio a 5, no? Se vuoi metterti in porta, fai pure, però fai tu, quali sarebbero i 5 giocatori con cui faresti la squadra, oppure 4 più te, come vuoi tu?
Ma di qualsiasi...
Qualsiasi squadra, campionato, anche epoca, se vuoi, magari hai qualche portiere o giocatore che ti è rimasto nel cuore vedendo gli highlights su YouTube, non lo so.
Allora, calcio a 5 tosta, allora prendo Casillas in porta sicuramente, poi Maldini e Sergio Ramos.
Quindi se hai preso Casillas già ti piace più di Buffon, penso, no? Nel senso, magari era più il tuo idolo Casillas.
Sì, diciamo che mi sono sempre più identificato in lui, come stile, come tutto, come fisico, come tutto. Mi è sempre piaciuto molto. Buffon l'ho visto sempre alto, fisico diverso, altro stile rispetto a me. Perciò
Magari
sì,
l'hai visto sempre da bianco-nero, no? Quello.
anche quello, diciamoci la verità. Poi a centrocampo, allora, ho preso 2 difensori, prendo 2 centrocampisti, prendo Gattuso, sicuramente, che è uno che corre c'è bisogno. Poi prendo De Bruyne, e davanti prendo Ronaldo, dai.
Ronaldo, il brasiliano.
Ronaldo è il fenomeno.
Quindi hai fatto un buon mix, però, perché a centrocampo Gattuso, uno che corre, si sbatte, botte, cazzotte. De Bruyne
C'è sempre bisogno di uno che corre a
è uno
centrocampo.
che fa le botte, poi a calcio 5 è facile, sì. Quindi allora, Ale, grazie mille perché sei stato con noi. Ci è piaciuto
Grazie a
molto il
te.
tuo intervento, è sempre un piacere parlare con te, quindi speriamo anche in futuro di avere questa occasione di nuovo. Noi nel frattempo ovviamente ci vediamo anche sui campi del calcio maltese, del campionato, e magari anche ci rivedremo anche in altre occasioni, quindi stiamo in
Volentieri.
contatto. Buona serata e ovviamente forza azzurri, andiamo a Wembley a cantare l'inno con orgoglio, no?
Ciao ragazzi, grazie, buona serata.
Grazie Ale.
Ciao.
Grazie.
Ciao.
So Dylan, that was a very good chat with Alessandro Guarnone. He's in his second year in Malta. Now we'll be playing with Valletta. He's a very great guy. And, the first time
very genuine.
Last season, he knows what he's talking about. He knows his football. He's very intelligent, very smart, and always constantly updated with the latest trends, both about goalkeeping position. And I like his insights a lot, because obviously we might analyze everything, but sometimes the goalkeeper goes off a bit of away from the spotlight, no? And and also his take about the different styles of the teams that are playing the Euro 2020. No? So I saw that you were nodding, so I think you understood.
Oh yeah, I do understand. It's just I do understand. No, I was very interested in the new glove technology, something I'd never heard of before. No, that's something else. That's quite remarkable of how stuff has just developed throughout the years. What next? Spikes on shin pads or something?
and I was curious to ask him because I saw this news today. I think it was released today, and you're never sure whether it works or not. No, I mean it's like when you put on your shoes, they tell you it's made of this or it helps you to run more.
Yeah.
I don't know what. And when you put the new clothes, the underwear, and you're never sure whether it has an effect or not. So having that insight from a goalkeeper's point of view was interesting as well. And
very.
I think it might prove an advantage for Donnarumma as well, and for the goalkeepers that make use of these gloves.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, talk about great goalkeepers, and obviously he's just mentioned Donnarumma. He was absolutely key in the Italy-Belgium game. He hadn't had much to do during the tournament. Obviously, Austria, he did concede, but he kept 3 clean sheets in the group stage, and you had times when he had to be called upon, and all of a sudden, he sprung into the game. The Lukaku shot, which it was a one-hand save, brilliant one-hand save, may I say. No, he's a fantastic goalkeeper, and I'm sure those spikes on the gloves helped him save that shot.
After their first goal was disallowed, and before they scored the first, there were those couple of chances where he was very great, and that's why I asked Ale if he's seeing a different Donnarumma. I'm seeing him not much improved, but a bit improved from his Serie A performance. I don't know if he's like a different goalkeeper here. I think maybe he's involved in the playing style. The playing style maybe helps him more to be part of the build-up, and it's a different environment. And he wanted to prove critics wrong after his decision maybe to leave Milan. So there was everything, a lot of factors combined together. No, and even he's also shown his leadership skills as well on the field and off the field.
That's what I was about to say, because I remember him breaking through 4 years ago now. I mean, he's still incredibly young, but he's been around forever. I think he's matured more than anything. I think he's playing to the occasion, which for a goalkeeper is absolutely excellent, just like Jordan Pickford. He has a few errors at Everton, but he's such a good tournament goalkeeper, and I think Donnarumma is the same, but I think with a bit more goalkeeping ability. He's an exceptional goalkeeper, and Italy are blessed to have him to finally replace Buffon.
And what do you think about Italy in general then, heading into the Spain game?
I think it's going to be a very interesting game. I think for Italy, we have to mention the obvious. Their key player, in my opinion, Spinazzola, is going to be out, and it seems like he's going to be out for a few months, unfortunately. No, it's going to be a big loss. I think Italy's dimension will change now with Emerson taking his position. I sort of had to look at the Spanish average positions. I don't think I sent you that screenshot, but the Spanish average positions, they're very narrow. I think it sort of creates that tiki-taka football a bit more. So obviously keeping it compact. That might suit Italy, having a left-footed left back this time round, maybe keep the width. That will expand the Spanish. But no, I think I'm going to be honest, and this is coming from an England fan. I would personally put Italy as slight favourites, simply because they've got the history for it. They've got the mentality. You saw it at the end against Belgium, the way they handle the pressure. I think if they were still playing right now, I don't think Belgium would have scored. I think that's how mature Italy are. You've got Chiellini, you've got Bonucci. Again, we've got Donnarumma in goal, who's an absolute leader. Then you've got the likes of Verratti in the middle, who's won trophies in his career. The spine of the team is very good. I think we can question the striker, Immobile. I think he needs to answer a few questions still. To be precise, to be honest, And I think it's a great time to do it against a very, very timid Spanish defence. No, but I think Italy's chances are good. I'd put them favourites against Spain. Spain will probably have a couple of ways they could go around the Italy midfield, because it's a narrow three, and two Metzelas, basically, if you want to call them, in Barella and Verratti. No, but to answer your question, I think Italy have got a good chance, a very, very good chance.
I put on this here because we mentioned about it, speaking about it right now, and again, after the Austria game, there were a bit of criticism about whether Verratti should start again alongside Jorginho and everything. And I think the Belgium game gave a really important answer to that question. And I think obviously they made amendments from the Austria game, but because if you see here, Verratti is more advanced, Jorginho is deeper than Verratti. Whereas in the first map that we've shown from the Austria game, they were almost flat here in this part of the pitch. Now with Verratti playing here, and you see the thickness of the passing, which means how involved was he, in this half space here, and that obviously helped Italy have more quality of space into the final third from the left hand side. And as you mentioned, well, Spinazzola will be missed. He will be missed mostly because of what he brings to the Italian attack, his dynamism, his athleticism, and even his technical qualities. He can put short crosses into half spaces. He can switch balls from one flank to another. And those are things that maybe Palmieri cannot provide. Palmieri, let's face it, to be fair, Palmieri was Italy's left back during the qualifiers.
Yes, he was.
Always the starter, but it felt always that Italy needed something more from that flank. And once Spinazzola came on and really cemented himself as a starter, Italy were starting to play better from that left hand side. Having Spinazzola going, cutting the inside, Insigne stretching the field and playing with an asymmetrical five up there, and maybe that might be missed. We might be proved wrong, and Emerson plays a similar game as well. But we have to see. I mean, Mancini does like Palmieri, so I'm sure that he will start now, because maybe I was thinking De Lorenzo would swap sides and Toloi starts for the back three, because De Lorenzo played a decent second half against Derke, but I think at this point De Lorenzo will remain with the back three, and Palmieri will be the one that pushes forward. Other than that, I see Italy still playing with the same playing style, obviously. And here there's another photo. This is an interesting photo got a couple of good photos from a tactical account from their game against Belgium that highlighted obviously Belgium's weaknesses. This is from a build-up from Italy here. I think Donnarumma here, and this was Jorginho, if I'm not mistaken, and it was never pressed. This made Italy's life very easy, because they couldn't build up from here, but they could pass their key man here. So with this pass, they bypass three players, and their first pressure line is already beaten. And this is Verratti here. So you have these two that can click immediately, make it a 2v2, and you can make it even 3v2 with this one pushing higher, And
I think,
yes, go on.
Just touching on this very quickly, I think if I was Roberto Martinez, I'd be absolutely fuming at my players, because
especially here,
you are clearly. I'm hoping this is just a one-off, because that's absolutely horrible to watch as a coach.
This was actually, if I'm not mistaken, this was the move that actually led to Italy's second goal. So if it might have been a one-off, they've had it, because because as this shows, obviously, this, how can you win? How details can help you win games at this level? Just one slight loose marking and you've had it.
Because you have got clearly De Bruyne is triggering the press at the front,
Yeah.
And then you've got your two of your centre backs are having a chat at the back. And then you've got your right wing back who is stuck in what you would rather be the right centre back position, with the right full back Meunier, preferably pressing up onto the halfway line. And that completely destroys Italy's game plan. As you can see, the front three remain a front three for Italy. And if this is the one that creates the goal, the second goal, I am truly not surprised, because it's such a delayed reaction on the trigger for the midfielders in defence that it's going to cause a wave of delay. And that wave of delay will leave gaps in between the midfield and the defence. And that's the gap that Insigne exploited to cut into and then inevitably make it 2-0.
And I think the Italy-Spain game, to stick with this topic, it will be important who will dictate proceedings in the midfield. No, I mean I think Italy play a very similar football to Spain to a certain extent, because they have a lot of quality in the middle. They don't have physical players unless Locatelli comes in, for example, and they also carry the ball a lot forward. No, they make use of their midfielders and the half spaces to connect with the full backs, with their forwards, the link-up play, and everything else. And Spain do a similar thing as well, because if you look at Morata, for example, he's not a static striker. No, he drops deeper to receive the ball and everything. So whoever takes possession in the midfield, I think, has a great advantage to win a game. It's a cliche, of course, but it cannot be. It suits Italy, Spain perfectly, because the midfield is the heart of where the play starts for both teams, basically. And it will be interesting to see in this case, for example, which Italian player will mark Busquets, and which Spanish player will, for example, mark Jorginho. No?
This is why I agree. This is why it's going to be an interesting matchup. I think Spain will look to dominate the ball, as they have done all tournament. Which is inevitable, and everything goes through Busquets. And having a look at that formation, the average positions, I would assume that Verratti will be closer to Jorginho if you look at the average positions at the end of this semi-final. I think it will be a flat 3 again, rather than Verratti and Barella pushing forward. Where's the ball here? Is this in defensive?
This is a follow-up from the first image. In fact, Insigne has already dropped here. He will receive the ball from here. Telemans comes here, you know.
Again, they've exploited the overload on the wing, which is, I assume that's Spinazzola out there next to Insigne.
Yeah, and this is a similar move that you might see against Spain, because Spain have fullbacks that push forward, no? So it will be, especially then now the biggest matchup now, to be fair, one of the biggest matchups, it will be on the other side now, whether Jordi Alba will start or not on the left-hand side, where Chiesa most probably will start, and given Chiesa's explosiveness and perfect timing to exploit space and depth, that will be interesting to see how Italy will manage to attack Spain from that right hand side. Could be that they make more use of Chiesa now rather than Palmieri. We'll see, no? Because to be fair, without Spinazzola, Insigne might feel a bit out of the game, because there won't be a player that helps him to stretch the field.
That's true.
So a fullback that can cut inside. So Insigne might actually remain a lot inside the half spaces, whereas Palmieri will stay outside. We'll see. These are obviously hypotheses, not because then we'll have to watch the game.
Of course, yeah.
Interesting to predict, to try and anticipate a bit what we might see, you know, with the players that will be on the field for both sides.
I think what we might see, talking about what we might see, is a few diagonal balls from the two centre backs, from Bonucci and Chiellini, and I'll tell you why: because of Spain's average positions throughout the tournament. And they play a high line and they're narrow. So if Italy do keep out wide, if they do stick to what they've been doing.
But it's here for you, my friend.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm actually, just for everyone watching, I did not know he had this. That's perfect. Yeah. So I won't be surprised if we see more of these.
That's true.
We'll have Emerson Palmieri and Insigne on the left, probably, which is clearly Bonucci's preferred destination of a long ball. He sort of seems to go left a bit more.
Having Spinazzola up there and with Munir pushing forward, no? So now
100%.
But now we have to remember that Spain play with a high defensive line. So these balls could be crucial for Italy, because most probably Spain will make use of positional press, with Mark up front, trying to hold a bit Italy's build up. So, and obviously in Bonucci they have another playmaker at the back, no?
100%. Not just the playmaker, but also experience of playmaking. So he'll have maturity in decisions. He'll probably know a little bit more when to make the decision and how to make the decision. I'm honestly, I tried looking up some stats and analysis on these two teams. I think if I had 10 analysis, 8 out of 10 sort of lured me into Italy winning this game. I don't know what Luis Enrique will do this game. It's the first real team who pose a threat up top that Spain will face in the tournament, in the whole tournament. So will he go to 3 at the back? I don't know. Will he do a Southgate and match up Italy and hopefully kill off the game like that and die it down? Because Italy do want a quick tempo. But then again, having said that, I don't think he will, because Spain take a pride in their tiki-taka football. It's a bit like the ball going to 3 at the back of the Netherlands.
And Spain, does not negotiate their ideas for their opponents. They have their playing style, they have their principles. Yeah. And to be fair, Luis Enrique has been also very strict with his ideas, in terms that he always believes in them, even when he had a lot of critics, no? We saw the way in which he supported Alvaro Morata, for example, no? So
yeah,
I'm sure that we will keep the same shape. The only question is, what kind of players will play, especially at the back, no? Because he always sprung some surprises before every game, no? Last time he started with Torres in need, to have more physicality at the back. So we might see now Garcia back, given his quality with the ball. I'm not sure about this. And Jordi Alba's not a regular starter, to be fair, in this European Championship, so we never know whether he starts or not. And up front, I don't know whether Sarabia might be injured, and don't know whether that gives the opportunity to play either Moreno, who can become then a second striker alongside Morata, or Dani Olmo, no? Who can be the player.
Dani Olmo's been bright in the tournament. Dani Olmo's been very bright when he's come on. I would personally choose him, I agree. With Moreno, I think last game he missed a few chances. I know Morata's been missing chances.
To be fair, Morata
chances.
Was disappointing, and Moreno was worse.
Yeah, I think the Spanish people are sort of glad they cheered Morata on now. They've seen Moreno play. No, it's I think defensively, Spain, the centre backs position in Laporte and Torres or Garcia, whoever plays, they've got to deal with an out of form Immobile. The problem will be when the wingers start cutting in, because both the wingers play as inverted wingers, and that's what they need to deal with. So I think Busquets dropping forward. Obviously, we've seen Pedri in the last episode. We saw Pedri's defensive stats; they'll come in handy. Koke's defensive ability. Obviously, he's used to grinding out results with Atletico Madrid, so that experience comes in handy. So maybe Spain do have a little bit of know-how in the team. Maybe they could grind out extra time to penalties. But having said that, going forward, they'll need Pedri, they'll need Koke, they'll need Busquets on the ball. So it's about how quickly they react when they lose the ball and transition. Because Italy will go forward. They'll try to keep the ball, but they'll be as direct as possible.
And last time we had that matchup between Bonucci and Chiellini against Lukaku. It was often Chiellini against Lukaku. And now they will face a striker who they know particularly well inside outside Morata. So that could be another advantage for the Italians as well to cut out Morata from the game. But Morata is not a static player. Maybe Lukaku was a bit more static against them. Morata does like to drop deeper, and because Spain play with a number 9, but to a certain extent, sometimes they just have positional players there and go on rotates now. So, but obviously it's the same goes for Immobile as well, because both players then like to play into space now, having those through balls and running into space behind the back line. It might be possible here, because I can see an open game here, to be fair.
I agree.
This could be a good game for Immobile as well, because if they play with the high defensive line, given Ferrati and Jorginho qualities on the ball, he can easily find runs, the opportunity to run behind the back line. But then he cannot do mistakes, technical mistakes like he did, his first touch and everything else. He has to be clinical like he's at Lazio as well. If it would have been another opponent, Belotti could have been a good option, because Belotti can be more static, but can shield the ball well, can hold up the ball well. He does that very good with Torino as well, and Torino is a team that often defends, not attack, so he knows how to cope with that pressure. In fact, I think Belotti would have fitted more the game against Belgium, but at the end it went well for Italy, so all critics vanish. But I think this is a good game for Immobile to prove his qualities, because this is a game that might fit him. And obviously I think Spain will dictate the game more, but it won't be like 70-30 or 60-40. It could be slightest of margins, to be fair, because Italy love to take the ball and go forward and have possession. They're different Italy side from the recent ones that we've been used to. So and it was clear against Belgium as well in the final minutes, when rather than staying deep, they were defending up there in the final third, Italy. So that reflected it also the character of this Italy team. Other than that, it will be interesting. The predictions is tough. On this one is tough. I go for it because they reach the final, but it's tough, to be fair.
It is a very tough ball.
And Spain do play well, to be fair. Spain,
their expected goals
capitalize on their chances, but they do play well, and they create chances. So it's not a straightforward game for Italy.
Their XG, for everyone watching, XG's expected goals in a match is the most in the tournament. I think it's about 5.4, I want to say. And they missed 3.4 of them. That's massive. That's so big. All it's going to require for Spain is for one player to actually be on form, let's say Alvaro Morata, to actually finally finish a few of those chances off. And all of a sudden we see
scoring goals, no? That's true.
And all of a sudden we see a different Spain. And not just a Spain that might beat Italy, but also might go on to win the tournament if they do eventually take their chances. The only difference between these two teams is both teams are in a state of transition very quickly. Italy are sort of 2 years into this Mancini reign, two and a bit years.
Italy are a bit step ahead now than Spain.
100%.
Because the 2018 fiasco helped him, obviously. It fast-tracked the process.
Yeah, exactly that. And obviously Spain had a very bizarre managerial incident before the 2018 World Cup, which totally sort of ruined their chance, not just the chances for the tournament, but also their progress, their development as a team, because they were in a stage of transition then too, and it just pushed everything back. It's like some famous projects, and their deadline day keeps going back and back. No, I think Spain will get there eventually. They've got so many good players, especially with Pedri coming through, and he's looking like he can be the next Xavi, the next Iniesta. As for a prediction, I'm half-hearted to say it might be a 2-1 to Italy, but I can see it going to extra time. I'm going to go for an Italy win.
I think it would be an Italy win, but it could easily go to extra time and penalties as well. Spain, by the way, were in the in the European qualifiers group with Malta as well. They had won 2-0 in Malta. Morata grabbing both goals here.
I was there for that one.
It was a very fine display from the Maltese, and then the away game, it was a bit shambles for the national team. It was 7-0. I think that was peak Spain, and that was also during the chaos that they had, with Roberto Moreno and Luis Enrique. So actually, their managerial bizarreness continued during the qualifiers. And actually, that might have shadowed a bit Spain's progress, which is also down to Luis Enrique. And Luis Enrique made use of a lot of players during the qualifiers and Nations League. So we headed into the tournament not knowing who might be the starting 11 for Spain. And now we are seeing a clear picture of who the future team might be. And no, they did play well. They did create chances, and for me, it's not a surprise that they arrived till here. No, I mean, maybe the way they managed to do so, it was surprising, to be fair. So
no, I agree.
Their opponents obviously will be one between England and Denmark. Another interesting matchup that we might not have expected before, but to be fair, both of us had said that Denmark could have been the dark horses alongside Turkey. Turkey remained dark,
everyone.
but were never horses because they literally were one blank. Whereas Denmark, the Eriksen situation might also help them more, motivated them more, galvanized them more. But they have the qualities to play. Let's start with Denmark. I like them against the Czech Republic. I liked one thing from them. They consistently go in the second half, but they remain compact, and they showed that they can also defend well, defend as a team, defend as a unit, and suffer. You have to suffer in these games, and they managed to do so with great maturity. And if you look into the players, they have a lot of players who play in some of the top leagues, so now they are used to these games. So, what kind of threats maybe do you see that Denmark can oppose to England?
I think we have got a very good matchup as far as in ability-wise. I think as a collective, Denmark are extremely good. They make each individual 3 times better than they are. We have got Southgate on one hand, who'll probably match up to Denmark. But Denmark, you've got Mæhle on the wing. I assume Dolberg will start, so he's a different sort of player. So that's another question mark that probably Southgate's men need to sort of be ready for, whatever the answer is to that question. I think you've got Højbjerg in the middle, who's used to the Premier League, who's played at Wembley, who knows the atmosphere at Wembley. You've got Vestergaard, who's done the same. I believe he played for Southampton, the FA Cup semi-final. So many more people, big occasion as well. You've got Kasper Schmeichel, who won an FA Cup there a few months ago. So you've got a big host of experience at Wembley in the Denmark team. And yes, it's Denmark and not France, as England were expecting in the semi-final, not France, or whoever, a big nation, Portugal, whoever. But this is a tricky match for England. It's a very, very tricky match. Denmark are a very good team. Let's not forget, yes, they only won one game in the group stage. But the game against Belgium, they were the better team for most of the game. They went ahead. De Bruyne and Hazard came when they changed the match. They couldn't match up to that. And that's something England could probably look at the substitutions. They've got Grealish, they've got Foden, the usual players on the bench. As for Denmark, I was listening to a journalist and he was talking about the fact that they might be slightly tired. Some players have complained about fatigue. They went to Baku for the quarterfinals. That's going to take a big toll because there's no direct flights. I still don't understand why they got the quarterfinals to be played at Baku, but I'll leave that to the UEFA authorities and we won't sort it out in this podcast here. So that's maybe a little issue that Denmark will have, fatigue going into this game. You've had Simon Kjær, who's had an injury. He said that he's playing through an injury. Three at the back does help Denmark. It has helped them throughout the game. You've got the two, which you've got Mæhle and Striger Larsen, who's come in really well. I think I sent you a heat map of Striger Larsen and Mæhle. This is very interesting because obviously Mæhle's been the one going forward in our eyes anyway. But against the Czech Republic, it was totally different. Mæhle going forward wasn't a thing against Czech Republic as much as Striger Larsen. So they do actually pose a threat on both sides of the pitch. This was
Mæhle, Czech Republic.
This was Mæhle versus Czech Republic. As you can see, his heat map is in the middle of the pitch. It's not going forward too much. He's not staying back too much. He's there. He's contributing to both sides. Whereas if you look at Soufal, for example, against the Czech Republic, a player going forward, he's way more forward. So that's probably what's caused Mæhle to stay back. And in that game, you had the Mæhle assist for the second goal. But other than that, Mæhle never really got forward. So maybe a pause for a food for thought for England would be, could you switch it to three at the back, stick Kyle Walker up there? And if you have a look at Kyle Walker's heat map, it's really interesting what he brings to the team. You have got Kyle Walker against the Ukraine heat map, supposedly. I think it's one of the first ones I had sent you.
So this is
Walker heat map. Yes. So as you can see, it's very similar to Soufal. If anything, yes, it was against Ukraine, so they would have expected to be more direct and more attacking. But what Walker also brings, he'll bring the pressure to the wing back Mæhle, which will cause him to drop back a bit. But he also brings, as you can see, there's a little red dot in the middle there. Defensively, he brings that chemistry with John Stones where he can cover for an attacking centre back for when he goes forward, and that's what Kyle Walker brings you. You've got currently you've got a lot of English people saying, "Oh, maybe we should switch to five at the back, stick Kyle Walker in right centre back, and Reece James try full back." But if you go to the Reece James heat map, which is further on, this is it. I think that was it.
I think yes, it's this one.
Mm-hmm. If you go to that heat map, it's attacking, it's defending, but he won't contribute anything centrally. And when you've got Højbjerg and all the players coming in from the middle, Thomas Delaney, who is absolutely brilliant at making late runs, I think that's key. So sticking Trippier on right hand side of that five, with Walker at the right hand of the centre backs, that makes sense because he'll give you that little bit of stability. And that will be, I think that will be very key in the England-Denmark game because it will keep the threat of Mæhle away from the English back four, back five, whatever you want to call it. And then you've got the case of who plays in front of in front of Trippier or Walker or whoever plays there. That probably, I think I hear Saka will start, which will be nice to see as an Arsenal fan, but also I think would make sense in terms of directness. And also he rested last game, so it makes total sense. If you have a look at the Denmark Czech Republic, so if you slide one across the percentage of attacks there. So again, you can see you had Soufal on the right hand side of the Czech Republic defense, and that caused the Danish team to not attack as much from the left hand side. The attacks came from Striger Larsen on the right hand side, which is interesting because everyone would have thought, oh, Mæhle, he's the key player. But actually, Striger Larsen is as dangerous on the other side. So this is why I brought this up. I wanted to contradict myself intentionally because Southgate has got a big dilemma here. You either stick with four at the back as you did against Croatia, and you stick Kieran Trippier at left back and deal with Striger Larsen, and then Kyle Walker at right back. and deal with Mela. Or you can stick with 5 at the back, stick Shaw and Walker as high up as possible, and hopefully pin their fullbacks to the ground, to their defence. And that's the 2 options I think Gareth Southgate will have, the 2 big dilemmas Gareth Southgate will have. But talking from my brain, I think he'll probably match up Denmark and go with 5 at the back and not 4 at the back, in my opinion.
I think the Germany game showed that so that he prefers system over individuality, and if matching up the opponent's threats makes more sense for his side, he will do it, because then at the end of the field he has players that can create something. He has quality players that can make up something. So if, for example, his fullbacks are pinned back because they are marking the opponent's fullbacks, he still has quality players front on who he can rely on. So that's a good question. I think he will go with 5 at the back, to be fair. But there is one game that for sure Southgate will analyze because
100%.
the last team that had beaten England at Wembley was Denmark. And actually,
I was reading,
but it is an important match to analyze, to be fair, because it is the same Denmark squad, to be fair, and for sure he can see in what way he lost the game.
I believe England played with a back 4 here, because I did actually read something, and it did say that the Belgium and Denmark defeats made Southgate think, hang on a minute, we can see goals we lose. Let's tighten it up at the back. Let's be stable. Let's be in control of matches. I actually think the Denmark match was very key in Southgate's approach to this tournament. And also, what I did notice earlier on was the 4 teams remaining in the semi-finals, they all hosted their groups, which is an interesting factor. Obviously, people talk about unfair advantages. Maybe Luka Modric was right after all. We all slated him in England, saying, someone needs to be
England played a home Euro, to be fair, a bit like 1996, to be fair. So, it creates an advantage for the teams that play home, and it's different than just one country hosting it, because you have plenty of teams here that are playing home, other teams that are traveling for every game. Case in point, Ukraine, for example. So these were the lineups of the England game against Denmark, which was played.
There was 5 at the back,
which was played on 14 October 2020. It was England's final defeat at Wembley, and it came at the hands of Denmark. Here you can see that actually Denmark's team is more or less the same. The difference of Skov here having Mæhle and here having Stigal Larsen. Instead of Daniel Vaz, who's a utility man for them. The midfield department composed of Højbjerg and Delaney, which is the same basically that has propelled Denmark to the semi-finals, and here the front 4 without Eriksen, of course. Obviously here there's a difference because rather than a 4-3, they were playing with a 4-2-1 here. So through this formation they have a number 9. What they are doing now without Eriksen, they're playing without a number 9, because against Finland they had started with Jonas Wind, if I'm not mistaken, front with the number 9, and they changed everything. Now Dolberg coming in, and he has a hot foot. Let's put it that way. I think obviously he will start, to be fair. On the other hand, in England, there aren't a lot of changes, to be fair. Because if Maguire, Walker, this has been obviously the midfield department, the most stable part, to be fair. The central channels have always been stable, to be fair. It's Maguire and Stones, Phillips, Rice, and Kane. Centrally is always those. Obviously, there's plenty of differences here.
Also, what's interesting here, this is before John Stones hit form. This is before Ruben Diaz helped John Stones get into the England team. You've got Conor Cody playing there, who is nowhere near the team right now. Yes, he's in the squad, but he's nowhere near in the starting 11. John Stones is absolutely vital for this team. I think he's one goal away from being one of the defenders of the tournament. Obviously, Maguire scored, but he does a lot of stuff which goes unnoticed, which is key for England and key for the control that they've kept and key for not conceding any goals whatsoever in this tournament. Was he on the bench in this game? I'm curious. I wonder if he actually played ahead of him.
Mings came on.
Mings
Stones
is there.
even there. Could have been here
So
been
no.
injured, maybe.
Maybe. But he was, because I do recall him not being anywhere near the England team. Because there was a time where I think in the summer Arsenal were nearly going to sign him. He was about to leave City.
Where there were the chances of seeing Joe Gomez now starting at the back, and then he got injured. So it was a different situation, of course. No, there was the Trent Alexander-Arnold as well. No, so it was a bit of a different side as well. I think in Denmark, England will face a very intense team, and I think this will be the game where they will face an opponent who play with high intensity. So far, they haven't faced a team like that in their European journey, and obviously that might give different difficulties to England, and we have to see this England backline against this type of playing style. No? So far, to be fair, England's defensive line has been great. They haven't conceded a goal, but if you see the quality of chances they conceded, in particular against Germany, which was actually, to be fair, the strongest team they faced on paper so far. No, they did allow few chances, no, which were open, which were very serious for the opponents, and they didn't capitalize on them. So, and you know that Denmark have players who can beat the player.
Yeah.
Here Damsgaard didn't play, so that's an advantage for Denmark. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So that's a jolly for them. And Mail, of course, the chain has been amazing. With Damsgaard and Mail. So it will be an interesting test, and I'm seeing a Denmark squad very compact and very, very organized. To be fair, I'm seeing Italy-Denmark as as most probably that will be the final in my way of thinking, because both teams are at hit form, and they are playing very good. They seem like a club. England so far haven't really. England are playing a different football. England are not playing at their strengths, at their offensive strengths. They are preferring system over individuality. So obviously, and most of the games they just had to control them, to be fair, except for the Scotland game, but it was a particular game as well.
It's a different game. I think I do agree. I think Denmark will aim to hit England from the off. I think they would have taken notes from the Belgium game. They started pretty well there, as we just said, and also they would have probably taken note from how nervous England were in the first 10 minutes against Germany.
In fact, I was going to tell you this, that England haven't conceded a goal, no, but Denmark have scored 3 goals in the early minutes of a game against Belgium, Wales, and Czech Republic. And you've mentioned a good point now, because England might seem shaky at the start, might seem nervous, or they just try to control the game, settle down. And if Denmark score early, and England concede, and England are 1-0 down, that will be an uncharted territory for England in this European Championship. That will be interesting, because that will be a focal point that the analysts and technical staff should take a look at how Denmark start the games, how aggressive they are from the start, the way they score the goals, the fact that they score goals, and actually against Belgium they could have scored 2 or 3 more.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
and they will look at the game in particular, to be fair.
No, I do totally agree. I think the first 20 minutes will be very important for England, and for Denmark, obviously. Set pieces, England are getting there all of a sudden, and Denmark struggle defending them. So this is a key area again, and that's another reason why I think he'll go with 5 at the back. because it's an extra big body up top in set pieces. No, it's going to be a good game. And unlike you said, if Denmark do get to the final, I don't think I'll have the guts to watch the final. No,
we have
do.
Italy has unfinished business with Denmark. No, Euro 2004. I mean, after their 2-2 draw against Sweden, no? So Sweden have actually duplicated their punishments after 2018, so that didn't went well. But no, I think Italy Denmark could be the final. But you know, England are playing with this different style, which I don't criticize at all, because at the end of the day, it's the coach's decision. And as you said, that's another good point. No, the set pieces, finally England seem to have clicked in together, even though, to be fair, the Ukraine defensive line was very poor. And,
it was horrible.
It was horrible, and I think they were, you know, after conceding the first goal, they were already, you know, they had already gave up, to be fair. But at the same time, while they have clicked in together into set pieces, Harry Kane has finally found the net 3 times in two games, and I'm thinking about this because while I was doing my fantasy team, I was looking at the forwards of the final 4 teams, and I was like, "There's crisis here."
There is.
I mean, it's just Harry Kane, to be fair, that has now scored, and because Morata missing out of chances, and Immobile not even getting close to score a goal. And
you Denmark just mentioned
Denmark are playing without a striker. Now Dolberg has come on and will be the other striker, you know, but it's very tough.
You just mentioned my 3 strikers. I ended up going with Kane, Immobile, and Morata because there's nobody else.
Before passing to the fantasy, what's your prediction for England? Because I have my fantasy team open here.
I was trying to avoid that.
I know you always do.
I'm gonna go for England to sneak a 1-0 win. I think it will be compact. I think it will be tight. And if England keep another clean sheet, I think they'll be big favourites to win the competition.
I see England going out on penalties, but having kept a clean sheet, to be fair. I think it will go an 0-0 because I see England cancelling a bit Denmark's threats. But then
if we lose on penalties, you are getting loads of text during the night. I'm gonna make sure I'll wake you up. You won't sleep.
I think both of games could go penalties, but in a different way. You know, might see an open score game against Italy, Spain, sorry, and England, Denmark could be a very close game. And obviously, they will, at the end of the day, they will turn out differently from what I'm saying, as always. But I think these are 2 matchups with different ideas of football. No, Italy playing close to each other, while England and Denmark. England can be a bunker, while Denmark are this free-flowing playing style football, no? which is nice to watch at the end of the day. You know? And we are pleased that Denmark are in the semi-finals because they've proved us correct, no, being one of the dark horses of the tournament. So this is my fantasy team. My fantasy team. No, I got 57 points, but I didn't do really well in the quarterfinals because I dropped 4th into my friend's league because others got over 6, you know. But I don't know. I went with this formation. I got Donnarumma, Bonucci, Shaw, Mail, Chiellini, Verratti, Delaney, Insigne, captain. Up front, Harry Kane, Morata, Dolberg, no. So, and I have my emergency cushion there, and then the substitutes, 3 England players and Damsgaard, no. So there isn't a lot to do. And then obviously I can put Italy, no, rather than Spain, because I think Italy will pass. So whereas England and Denmark might be more balanced. So
I like that. I think I've got Donnarumma in goal, Maguire, Luke Shaw as the English defenders, and I've got Sterling and Kane, and Kane's my captain. I've gone for Immobile and Morata up top alongside Kane. I've chosen Barella and someone else in midfield. I think it was not entirely sure. I should have screenshot it and sent it to you. It would have been way easier.
I will put Kane captain in the obviously on the measure. You know, for now I captain Insigne, which I'm not sure about. To be fair, I don't know why I put him on. He might create something else, but with Spinazzola there, he might actually struggle. So you are going to see a life change of captain here. A life change of captain. Who shall I put? I don't know. Let's go for Verratti, to be fair.
Oh, watch it. He'll pick up a yellow card and then you'll get -2 points.
Yeah, he's hot-headed. No, it's true. From the first match,
do you see the viral video of Immobile going around of when Italy scored?
Yes. I think actually it's a normal thing. I mean, football nowadays.
It's a very normal thing.
I'll put Chiellini on because you often defenders rise to the occasion and score in these type of games. So who knows? There was another interesting one, a TikTok video about the Arab commentary of England against Ukraine, and when Harry Maguire scored, he started to scream, "Goal! Harry Potter! Harry Potter! Harry Potter!" That was cool. So this is my team actually. So we'll see how that goes. One final question to wrap up this episode. Wanted to ask you something about Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw has been doing very well in this European Championships. He might not be considered as a brilliant, as a world-class left back. Let's put it that way. No, even though world-class is a term that might be useful nowadays for everyone. No, but I think maybe especially since Mourinho left United, I think he started to find his form again. Maybe edit more qualities, and having played in different systems that maybe helped his versatility as well. And I think he's playing his great football here. I think he's always had the talent, no? So we're not finally think maybe reach his peak, no? At the right time for England as well. But he's doing very well.
There's a big reason why he moved to Manchester United, because he's talented. There's, Manchester United are going to spend money on somebody who they think is good. They know he's good, so they bought him. That's how Manchester United work. I think, don't get me wrong, Mourinho's been a great football manager, but he's got this one wrong. And I think, especially psychologically for Luke Shaw, Mourinho kept going into the press and said things about Luke Shaw. This was after his leg break. The guy suffered. The guy nearly lost his leg because of this injury. They nearly had to amputate his leg, and it didn't help his confidence with Mourinho saying that. He's trying to recover confidence, and all of a sudden your manager goes out, says these things about you, and you probably start thinking, what next in my career? Yes, you could probably wait for the manager to get sacked, because I'm not being funny, but at the time Mourinho wasn't getting the results. So Luke Shaw probably thought he might not have a lot of time here, so I could stick around. But I'm really happy for him, because he's clearly talented, as he's shown us in the past 3 matches, whatever it's been. And to do it on the football pitch that Mourinho will be managing day in, day out next season, and probably the season after, because he only lasts 2 seasons at clubs, is excellent for Luke Shaw. He sort of proved the point on Mourinho's land, and I'm really happy for him. He does the job. He's not great at the job. He does a good job. And sometimes a good job is what you need against opponents who are underperforming. And he's a professional. He's a true professional, and he's a nice guy. So he deserves this. He definitely deserves this. And
last time we were speaking about the quality of distribution that England needed on set pieces, and
he delivered.
Proved important for England. No, so yeah, as you're saying, he's doing the things right. He might not be aesthetically nice like Spinazzola is for it, doing those runs and cutting the sides, switching the ball from one flank to another, crossing, shooting, playing as a striker at times. But for Southgate's playing style, he's perfect, to be fair. And
he's also really brave. There was a couple of times, I think once against Germany and once against Ukraine, he just did a diving header in the middle of the box with lots of feet flying around. A normal person doesn't do that. He's clearly brave as well. I definitely wouldn't do that. No way on earth am I getting smashed in the face.
The bravest in a tournament remains John Terry, no? Doesn't he?
Oh man, he just dived in with his head like that. That was South Africa, wasn't it? 2010. I think it was against Algeria.
I don't remember the game, but it was 2010. Yes.
I think it was against Algeria in a very, very entertaining 0-0 draw.
The good old days, no?
The good old England. But talking about 2010 and their camp, they were the morale wasn't good. That's a big difference we've got today. I mean, talk about it. We've got England who are vibing off of football's coming home, obviously, and all the jokes that England fans sing about. You've got great atmosphere in the camp, and then you go to Denmark, who are playing on emotion on what happened in the first game. Then you go to Italy, the most knit Italian group probably ever. They're so intact, they're so in tune to each other, and you've got Spain, who are very united, and they showed it when Morata was subbed off when he wasn't performing well. So you've got four teams who are in high spirits and going into this thinking, the four of them will be thinking, we can get to the final.
And that's a very good point. In fact, I want to take as a point to wrap up this episode, because we've got Luis Enrique who left at some point due to his daughter's death, so that wasn't easy for him to digest. And then he came back, had a bit of a row with Moreno, but then took charge, and from then onwards, Spain did never look back. They even beat Germany 16, just to mention an example to highlight their progress now as a national team. Mancini coming on after Ventura and the 2018 fiasco, and it was unthinkable maybe for Italy to reach these heights after missing out on the recent World Cup. Denmark's coach, who actually shouldn't have been the Euros, because he had to take over after Euro 2020, but it was delayed. The previous coach resigned last year, and they took Denmark to the semi-finals, their best ever result since 1992. And then you've got Southgate, that he has now steered England to obviously his second straight semi-final. Because with an interesting start, 2 semi-finals in a row. It's not easy, for any nation. So let alone for England, who often,
it hasn't been easy. It's been hell.
Exactly, find it hard in those stages. And Southgate will return to an England semi-final at Wembley for the first time since missing that penalty. So after that penalty, he returned back to the stage thanks to his plans that have been spot on so far. Whether you agree or not with them, they have propelled England semi-final. So at the end, I think these 4 teams did deserve to arrive here. Whoever wins will have deserved it for sure, because for what they've shown so far during the tournament, and it will be interesting to see. And a final that comes up, it will be interesting to see. To be fair, because all teams have different playing styles. All teams are united. All teams are compact, and it won't be easy for anyone not to win, and it will be interesting to see. So hopefully these 2 semi-finals will provide a lot of content as well to speak about now.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I totally agree. These 4 teams deserve to be there. I think they've been. If you add Belgium into the mix, I think you'll have the top 5 teams of the tournament. I think France bottled it at the end of the day. It's like England. I'm not being funny, but if England do lose this semi-final, they've bottled it, because it's a massive.
This is England's best chance to win a tournament.
This is England's best chance. And everyone, everywhere you go here, you sort of look at people and you give each other the same look, like, we want to celebrate, but we want to be careful. We're not overdoing it. We're waiting. We're waiting till the final. But yeah, it's brilliant. It's great to also businesses are going to make up for the money they lost during COVID in Malta if Italy and England get to the final. I'll tell you that. And also, they're probably,
especially in Malta.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean in Malta. I think Maltese authorities should invest in policing very quickly.
I mean, I'm thinking about Italy Denmark because I see two teams that are very strong in their way of playing. But Italy England, that would be awesome. And I think Italy England have never been in a final together. No, whenever they played each other, it was not stages. So having this game, this matchup, which means a lot for Maltese supporters in my lifetime. That's awesome. I still remember the tension back in 2012 for the quarterfinal.
And the penalty shootout, yeah.
And then the 2014, maybe it was a bit less because it was a group stage. It was the first
game, yeah.
But the final at Wembley doesn't get any bigger than this, no. So
no, it doesn't. It's going to be a good week of football.
I hope so. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, we've got tomorrow is a good one. Wednesday is a good one. Then Thursday and Friday and Saturday we can prepare for a very, very historical final, whatever happens. Because if England go through, it's going to be Denmark.
Let's hope that the European final will be followed by another big matchup in Brazil-Argentina Copa America final. That would have been top. Italy, England, Brazil, Argentina. I can retire from international football because having those two games on the same day, that's awesome.
We started the podcast way too early. This could have been our peak.
I mean,
way too late. I mean,
Brazil, Argentina should be played without. They would play without fans.
Supporters,
That
must be very eerie. Must be very eerie playing in a massive stadium like that, and just you kick the ball and it echoes around the stadium. It's like,
So actually, Brazil Argentina, if I'm not mistaken, if they face each other, that would be obviously Messi's chance to win his first trophy with Argentina at senior level, and I think Neymar's as well, no? Because he missed the 2019 due to an injury.
And Chile won the one before that, didn't they?
Chile won 15 and 16, yes.
So you're right. I think it would be Neymar's first Brazil trophy.
So that's, in fact, Neymar won just the Olympics with Brazil.
Does that count? He's got a gold medal somewhere.
That's an interesting. That would be an interesting story, no?
Yeah, it would be definitely.
They will play tonight, Brazil Peru tonight, and Colombia Argentina tomorrow. So plenty of games to watch as well. No? So we'll get in touch again, Dylan, later on this week. I think it would be Thursday or Friday. No, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. We still have to sort out our plans. We still have to sort out our content, but we'll be for sure because then we have to make a big preview for the final. No? And we might have more guests. We are not sure about that, but we'll try our best. No? So. Thank you, Dylan.
I'm nervous thinking about it. Yes, thank you very much. Here's to a very fair Italy-England final.
Yes. I will root for that for sure. Let's hope it will be that way,
100%.
And try to avoid the fourth wave and another lockdown after that game.
That's very true. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Ciao.